friends, welcome back, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Stacy and I am the Chapter Conundrum, and in today's video we're going to talk about my June TBR, so all the books I plan to read in the month of June. Now, June is partway over and I'm a little bit late in filming this since I'm just coming back from my hiatus, but I still wanted to go ahead and share with you guys what my reading plans for the month are. In terms of things that may take away from my reading, I actually don't have a lot this month for once, which is great. Mainly, I just have a to-do list of things that I should and can do now that I am a green card holder in the US. So things like shop new insurance, update to a real ID at the DMV, update my ID at the bank, you know, all that kind of fun stuff. But really, there's not a whole lot of that that's on a serious time crunch. So thankfully, I should have lots of time this month to kind of kick back and read and get back to just enjoying kind of the slower pace of everything. But it also has meant that because May was so crazy with preparing for my interview appointment and going ahead and doing that interview, I did get behind on some read-alongs. So I do have some of those books to talk about today as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. Starting with the Thrill, Chill, or Kill pick for June, and that is Stillhouse Lake by Rachel Caine. And this is something Jake and I chose for Thrill, Chill, or Kill because it had been on both of our want to reads for quite a while. But it got added to my want to read a while back when I had seen it on some kind of recommendations list for thrillers that had like multiple reveals. And I usually like a good paced thriller that has multiple reveals I like throughout the book. So I'm hoping that this one works out well for me. And yeah, looking forward to checking it out finally. Next up, our fantasy read along on the Bookastromer Discord right now is Dungeon Crawler Carl. And June is the month for number 3, the Dungeon Anarchist Cookbook. And I had previously been behind on the series, but I already have read number 2 this month. So that was on my TBR, but now we just have number 3 left for the rest of the month for me, and I've been enjoying this series so far. Number 2 is kind of a dip in quality after number 1, but I have heard that from multiple people 2 is kind of their least favorite in the series and things kind of get better again from here. So I'm definitely looking forward to getting back into things, and yeah, definitely enjoying the series so far. So the John Mars read-along is kind of where I started getting a bit behind, but the good news is these are pretty short and easy to get through quickly. But the June pick is The Minders, and this one is part of the one universe, so there may be spoilers or like mild no context mentions for things that happen in the one or the Passengers, but I have already read those, so I'm all set to jump into this one soon, and I'm looking forward to it. The premise of this is pretty cool. It's kind of in a society where hacking is pretty prevalent, and so the government picks like 5 people to kind of have all of their secrets, and obviously this could go either very well or very wrong. It's a thriller, so I'm gonna guess it goes very wrong. But yeah, I'm curious to read this one and check it out. I didn't yet get a chance to read the May John Mars book, and that is The Good Samaritan. And this is one that I'm hyped for because the premise of this is pretty unique as well. It's about a woman who works at, I think, a suicide hotline, but her motivations aren't necessarily all that altruistic. And so I have a feeling this is going to take a pretty dark turn. But I'm here for it. And then in the month of March, we did 2 John Mars books, and I did read one of them, but I didn't have a chance to get to the second one, which is The Vacation. So yeah, hopefully I can fit in all 3 of these, and or at least the May and the March one, and be mostly caught up on that. Another read along that I unfortunately got pretty behind on is the Green Rider read-along, but the good news is some of these are rereads. So I didn't yet read April's pick, the second book, First Rider's Call, because it was kind of chunky for the readathon, and I was a little bit behind where I wanted to be, but still doing very well in April. So I decided I was going to put this off for May, and then after that decision was made, of course my green card interview notice showed up, so I had to spend oodles of time preparing for that. So I didn't get a chance to get to May's book either, High King's Tomb. And like I said, both of these will be rereads, and I know that I can get through these quickly. I have already read and loved both of them, and the audio for these are pretty good too. Then hopefully I will also have time to get to book 4, which is June's book, Black Veil, and this will be the first entry in the series I haven't yet read. And I have also heard that this is the first book in the series where things kind of turn towards more of a darker tone, which usually I love in fantasy even more. And based on the fact that I really loved book 2 and 3 and tend to like darker stuff, I have a really good feeling about this one. So that was it for all the read-along stuff. But aside from that, I did have a couple things that I wanted to get to, and some I already have, some I'm still working on. One of my big goals this year is to wrap up with some series, especially those ones that I've been working on forever or that I just never prioritized before. And one of the series I'm happy to say I have already wrapped up this month is the David Bad trilogy. So I have already read Empire of Gold as well as the short story collection The River of Silver this month. So yeah, happy to say I finally managed to get to those. I also had my library hold for The Honey Witch by Sydney J. Shields come in. And essentially this is like a cozy fantasy, but it's one that has a bit more of a plot than some of them do. And I have kind of always been under the impression that cozy fantasy is not really for me. I tend to really like, you know, tension and high emotion and high stakes in a book. But I decided I was gonna give one a go because maybe I am just like misunderstanding how I think I'll feel. But I'm about halfway through this one, and while I do like it and there is some stuff in here that's keeping my attention, it is not my favorite, and I think it's due to the lack of tension and high stakes. So I at least am happy that I'm trying it and that I'm liking it, but that I'm also solidifying my gut feelings about the subgenre and how I'll receive it. But yeah, things could obviously change. Like I said, I'm only halfway through at this point. But yeah, so far so good, and I would definitely like to finish it out. Then I definitely want to make sure that I'm continuing on with Faithful and the Fallen and getting into Valor. So I have already started. I'm about 4 chapters in so far, but Malice has been probably my favorite read of the year so far. And so yeah, I definitely am keen to get to this one. I have been a little bit dragging my feet. I think I have this thing where I know I put off books I'm gonna love until I'm like in the optimal mood for them, which I know is kind of silly because once I start reading, like I will get sucked in and obsessed. But yeah, it's a thing. It's me. I don't know. But yeah, I definitely want to at least get a little bit more into Valor and get back into the world. And then if by some miracle I still have time after that, there is one other series that I could finish out that I've been dying to get to this last entry in, and that is Goldfinch, the 6th and final Plated Prisoner book by Raven Kennedy. So yeah, this is a chunk, but they do read pretty quickly. They're not overly dense. And obviously I'm very entrenched in the world and the characters and what's going on. So it shouldn't be a lot of like new stuff to take in. It's more like the final confrontation of the series. And yeah, I'm hyped for it. Hopefully I have time. If not, no big deal. I'll get to it in July. And then I have also noticed that this is a pretty fantasy heavy TBR, and sometimes the best option for me is to kind of switch up genres to avoid kind of slowing down or getting a little bit slumpy. So in the event that I am in a more of a mood reading kind of scenario, there are a couple new releases I may decide to pick up and check out this month, and that would be Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid or King of Ashes by S.A. Cosby. So there's a possibility I'd get to one of those, but they're not really high on my priority right now. I mean, I can get to them in July, August, whenever. Just don't be surprised if they show up on my June wrap up, because yeah, you never know. But yeah, that was it for all the books I either have already read or still plan to read in the month of June. Let me know down below in the comments which of these are you most excited for me to get to, and what are you most excited for on your June TBR. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe on your way out if you want to, and have a great day. Bye!